Hello everyone, welcome to the CloudLearn AWS Zero to Hero series. This is a day 15 video. In this video, we are going to talk about versioning. Versioning in S3 service. So what is this versioning? If you have any idea about what is a version, just let me know in the comment section. And coming to the versioning, especially in this S3 service, it will allow you to maintain multiple variants of the object in the same S3 bucket. And also, this versioning is used to preserve, retrieve, and restore every version of the object. Now, the question is, what is the version? The question is, what is the version? Okay, let us talk about that. Sorry, let us talk about that version. So here, assume, forget about the S3 service and everything for some time. Assume you are using a laptop and you are about to create a simple text file in your laptop. So I will say the name as file1.txt. So at what time I'm going to create that at 3:30 p.m. Okay. In this file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some content called hello all and I saved the file. Whenever I open the file displays hello all. Then after some time, I opened the same file again and I'm going to update it like hi everyone. Hi everyone. Let us make it simple. This was created at like 3:30 and this was at let us say at 4. Means you updated the file. What it means, whenever you open this particular file, you can't see this hello all content. You can see hi everyone because it was updated, which means you are losing the previous data. So here I can say this is one variant of the object and this is the second variant of the object. In our own words, we can say for this particular file, there are two different versions. Like whenever you are using your mobile phone, you install some applications, right? So over a period of time, they will launch new versions like version 1.0, version 2.0, and so on. So here I can say this is a version 1 and this is version 2. And after some time, let us say at 0:15, if I say hello world, this is going to be the version 3. So at any given point of time, in general, the file can display the latest version of the object, the latest version. It can't maintain a record of the previous versions, previous variants. So after some time, let us say at 0:05, accidentally I updated the file with some random data. Like I updated and I saved it. I saved it, which means I can't get the old versions, but whenever I open the file, I can see the latest version, which is incorrect data. Means I want to, what we call that, I want to revert the data. I want to revert the changes, but I don't have a backup of the previous versions. So what I have to do, again, I have to edit manually. I have to update the previous version or the required data manually. If it's a simple line, that is easy. What if that object contains thousands of pages? To edit or to update the thousands of pages, it takes a hell lot of time and it's a waste of time. So here, the versioning concept, the versioning concept will allow you to maintain multiple variants of the object in your S3 bucket, which means whenever a end user try to access the object, always he can see the latest version of the object. They can't see the previous versions, but the versioning feature will preserve the previous versions in the backend so that the administrator can retrieve any of the previous versions based on the requirement. And whenever there is a change in the object, it will preserve the data as a previous version. We can call these as previous version or a current version, non-current version. And this is called as current version of the object. Previous versions of the object, current version of the object means the latest version. Always the users can see the latest version, but as an admin, whenever you log into the AWS account, you can see the previous versions also, but that is only from AWS console. Whenever you use the object URL, the users can see always the latest version. Being an administrator, we have an ability to retrieve or restore any of the previous versions as a new version. Let us say here, this is the invalid data, and I want the users to make this as a default version or the latest version. Then what I can see, I can delete this one, this latest version which is incorrect, so that the latest previous version will becomes the current version. Okay, now here how it works. So first we have to create an S3 bucket, right? By default, the versioning feature is disabled on every S3 bucket. So we have to enable versioning. If you want to utilize the advantages of the versioning, we must enable it manually. And there is no additional charges for enabling the versioning feature. The moment once you enable the versioning, you cannot disable it. You cannot disable it, but you can suspend. Means there are three types of versioning status. Like enable, disable, there are three different status available for versioning feature. One is disabled, means versioning is not yet enabled. The second one is enabled, and the third one is suspended. The moment once you enable the versioning feature, you cannot disable it. Instead, you can suspend. What is the difference between the disabled and suspended? Disabled means there is no versioning. Suspended means already versioning was enabled earlier, but we passed the versioning feature, which means if there are any previous versions exist in the S3 bucket, they will be preserved. The previous versions will not be deleted automatically, but it will not maintain the versions from the moment you suspended the S3 bucket. Okay, right. So let us write down these points in a text file in our class notes, and then we can observe the same using the practicals. So first, what is a versioning? Versioning in S3 service allows you to maintain multiple variants of the object in the same S3 bucket. And the S3 versioning is used to preserve, means to keep as a backup, retrieve, like download the previous versions, and restore every version. Restore means if you feel the latest version is incorrect, so that you can restore the previous version, and you can make the previous version as the current version of the object. So how the versioning works is, whenever there is a change in the object, like edit, modify, update kind of a things, it will preserve in the sense it will store. It will preserve the old data as previous version and the latest data as current version. Always, always the users can see the latest version of the object. But as an admin, we can see all the previous versions from the AWS console. Means if you log into the AWS account using the management console with admin privileges, then you can check all the previous versions, and there is no additional charges for enabling versioning feature. We have to pay for the storage used for all the versions together. Let us say previous versions accumulate 1 GB data and the latest versions accumulate like 500 MB data. Then you will be charged for 1.5 GB of a data storage. Apart from that, there is no additional charges for versioning feature. As I said earlier, there are three types of versioning status. One is disabled, second one is enabled, and the third one is suspended. And also, already I mentioned, I guess, by default, S3 buckets will be created with versioning disabled. By default, the versioning is disabled on all S3 buckets. Whenever you want to enable or whenever we want the versioning feature, we have to enable them manually. And the most important point, we cannot disable the versioning on any S3 bucket on any S3 bucket once it is enabled. Instead, what we can do is we can suspend. What is the meaning of a suspend? Suspending the versioning feature cannot create any new versions, but it will preserve it will preserve all existing versions until we delete them manually. Means whatever the versions already created, they will be exist forever. Even you suspend the versioning feature. Okay. Now let us do check all these things practically. So we have created multiple S3 buckets as of now, right? What we do is to check whatever the statements I have given, like by default, the versioning is disabled on all S3 buckets, right? For that reason, check the status of versioning on any S3 bucket. On any S3 bucket. Let us check that. So here is our AWS account. Let me navigate to the S3 service. And how to check? Let us take any S3 bucket. Let us say this one, the cloudlearn.com, the bucket name. Click on that. And let me, here you can see different tabs. Let me click on the properties tab. What is the versioning status? Disabled. By default, the bucket versioning is disabled. If you want, you can enable it. There is no issue in that. Okay. Now, let us check how to enable bucket versioning at the time of S3 bucket creation. Create a new S3 bucket. Let us say I will give it name as versioning. And for uniqueness, I will use today's date and enable versioning at the time of bucket creation. While creating the bucket itself, I would like to enable versioning on that particular S3 bucket. How to create the bucket? Navigate to S3, click on create bucket, bucket name, versioning to March 2025. Let me enable ACL so that we have to verify, right? Like what version of the objects to be visible to the users. So I will enable ACL and I will make the objects as a public objects. See here, there is an option bucket versioning and you have to select enable. That's it. Simple option to enable versioning on any S3 bucket. Done. We have created the bucket and we enable the versioning, but we have to verify how this versioning works. Theoretically, we discussed, but that is not that much easy to understand for everyone theoretically. Let us verify that practically. What we do? So what I do is I will create, or I can say, yeah, upload a new object, any file, simple file. I will say file1.txt into the S3 bucket as a public object. and it is going to contain hi all. This is the current version, right? For the first time we are creating, so that's obviously that is going to be the current version. So on the desktop, I will create one file, file1.txt, save, file1.txt. Right now, let us upload that. How to upload? Click on the bucket, upload, add files, file1.txt. Let me upload it as a public, upload. And it got uploaded. Now let me get the object URL of the S3 bucket. It is object URL, right? Let me check what is the data visible to the end users. They can see hi all. Right now, we need to verify few other things like the editing and all the things. Now, I'm going to edit the object file1.txt and I will re-upload into the S3 bucket. Okay, how to do that? Edit the object file1.txt and re-upload into S3 bucket. Right? Okay, now let me open this. Hi everyone. So what happens now? There is already hi all, which becomes previous version, and hello everyone becomes the current version. It becomes current version. Why? Why? Because we updated the file with this one. So it got deleted, but it will be maintained as a previous version in the backend. But the users can see this hello everyone as the content of the object. Let me write down a simple note point. End users who access the object using the object URL can see the current version of the object. As an admin, we can see all versions of the object from the AWS console. First, let me upload it. We updated, but we did not upload it that yet, right? Let me upload it. Go to the same S3 bucket, click on upload, add files, file1.txt. Let me make it as a public. Then only the object URL is used to access. Done. Let me refresh this. What happened now? The users can't see the previous version because the previous version is maintained as a kind of a backup in the backend. Okay, right now let me close it. Also, we need to verify the previous versions also, right? Okay, let me go to the bucket, and on whichever the bucket the versioning is enabled, you will get this extra small option. If I click on show versions, can you see two versions for the file1.txt? This is the current version and this is the old version. If I select the old version and if I click on open, as an admin, I can see what that old version contains, or I can download the old version also. But always the users can see the latest version of the object. This is the ID, version ID. The current version is 11 bytes and the old version is 6 bytes. So total, I used 17 bytes of storage space in this particular S3 bucket. Okay, now let me update the file and one more time. Edit the object file1.txt and re-upload into S3 bucket. So we already have these two versions, and this will become a previous version. Some with wrong data, I updated the file. Means the end users can see some scrap, some random data which is incorrect. Okay, let us see. Let me open the file1.txt, save, and let me upload that particular object into S3 bucket. This is the bucket. Upload, add files, file1, permissions, grant public read access, I understand, upload, and done. If I try to access the object, I can see some random data which is incorrect. Now the question, how can we revert these object changes so that the users can see the version 3? So here I can say version 1, this I can say version 2, this I can say version 3. Now the version 3 is the current version, but I would like to make the version 2 as a current version or the latest one. So how that is possible? So revert the object changes so that the users can see the version 2 as the object's data. How it is possible is delete the current version, which is version 3, so that the v2 becomes current version. Here I'm not talking about the object deletion. Object deletion is different, and the version deletion is different. Object is different, object's version is different. I will show you. So what is the object and what is the object's version? Here, if I go to the buckets, click on the bucket, if it show versions is off, this is the object. If I turn on this one, this is the object's version, this is the object's version, and this is the object's version. The top one is always the current version. You can check the last modified times also, when it was modified, and all the details you can see here. Now, if I delete this one, if I delete the version of the current version of the object, then the previous version will become the current version. Now, what is the users can see? Some random data which is available in the v3, version 3. If I delete the version 3, select that particular version, click on delete. Now it is asking you to type permanently delete objects. Object got deleted. Actually, the object's version got deleted. See here, you can see only two versions for the object. If I turn off this, I can see the object. If I refresh the object URL, I can see the v2 data. v2 data. Okay. Now, let us check what happens if I delete the object. Remember, object deletion is different and object's version is different. Delete the object and check that what the users can see if they try to access the deleted object. Okay, so how to delete? Just go to your S3 bucket. If you are trying to delete the object, then make sure that it is turned off. Select the object, click on delete. Here, to confirm deletion, type delete in the text input field. Just remember this word, because earlier, whenever we try to delete the object, it asked us to type permanently delete. But this time, it is only asking you to type delete, which means whatever the objects we deleted just now, they were not permanently deleted. They were not permanently deleted. Instead, what happened? That object will be marked with a marker called delete marker, which means Technically, the object got deleted for all the users, but it will be maintained in the backend. Like if you delete any object from your laptop, what happens? It will move to recycle bin, which means the data still exists, but you can't access the data until you recover the deleted object. The same way, here we deleted the object. Technically, it got deleted. And whenever we try to access the object, we got the error called access denied. So here, let me add a simple note point. A simple note point. If we delete any object from the versioned bucket means on whichever the bucket we enable the version, we call that bucket as a version bucket. Object will be marked with a delete marker instead of permanent deletion. What is the meaning of that? If we want to recover the deleted object, we need to delete the delete marker. So whenever I delete the delete marker, that object will be automatically recovered. Let us verify that also. So already we deleted the object, right? But if I click on show versions, you can see the file1.txt is marked with a delete marker. So if I delete this one, object will be automatically recovered. Let us verify that. For that, what we do? Recover the deleted object. What is the name of the object? File1.txt by how we can recover the object by deleting the delete marker of that particular object. How to do that? Let us go back to our S3 bucket and make sure that you enabled or you toggle this show versions. Select the delete marker, click on delete, and this delete marker will be permanently deleted so that you will be recovered that particular object. Simple thing. Let's assume you have a bike. You will cover the bike with a bike cover or something so that no one can see what is inside that bucket, that particular bike cover. Whenever you remove the bike cover, everybody can see the bike which is covered with the bike cover, right? The same way we covered the object with a delete marker so that nobody can see what is the object. And see here, object got recovered, and if I refresh the object URL, you can access that particular data. This is what the versioning on S3. I hope you got clarity about the feature of versioning. If you have any questions about the versioning, just feel free to ask the questions in the comment section and I will answer your questions. Thank you, everyone.